Michigan has had a 10-year run of a metric ton of great players. What is it going to take for them to break through and finally win a national championship? Well, that's the thing about college hockey. You can have great teams. You can have, a perfectly built team. But unlike most other levels of hockey, and this is true across college sports because it's just the way that it's set up, you get one shot. Once you get to the last stage of the season, once you're one of the last 16 teams standing, you got to win 4 games in a row. And any mistake that you make in any of those previous games could end your season. We've seen Michigan get close. They've gotten a couple Frozen Fours. They were in the Frozen Four last year. They were overmatched by Quinnipiac in that game. I think we saw a team that was more experienced. We saw a team that was heavier. We saw a team that was more disciplined win that game. And they were also, that experience factor, I think, is significant. A few years back, they lose in overtime to Denver. Again, another team that had a little more experience, a little bit more polish. A few years back, they lost in the last 6 seconds of regulation to Notre Dame in the Frozen Four. So this is a team that's been close. There are a couple of factors. I think, for one, the University of Michigan has not had a ton of elite level goaltenders. The last time they went to the national championship game, they had Sean Hunwick, who was an undersized goaltender that played spectacularly throughout that and gave them a chance. You need that to happen. Not to say that Eric Portillo was the Achilles heel to that team last year. I think that they were just overmatched against Quinnipiac. But I think having an elite level goaltender helps a lot. We saw Yaniv Peretz do that for Quinnipiac last year. We've seen a number of goalies step up in big moments for their teams and give them a chance to win. Hunter Shepard for the Minnesota Duluth National Championship teams of recent memory almost did he did the same thing actually in the Calder Cup playoffs last year for Hershey. So you need those players. So I think goaltending is a big key for them. I think the year that they had the positive COVID test and had to pull out of that tournament, Strauss-Mann was starting to look like that guy. But unfortunately, that's not where it went. They had a positive COVID test. They had to leave the tournament. It was over before it began. But, the thing about college hockey is that single game elimination, it makes the national championship so much harder to win. I mean, if you're the best team and your odds are you're going to win 4 out of 7 if we did it that way, or you're going to win 3 out of 5. But in college hockey, we don't have a series that way. We do in the conference playoffs until we get to the semifinals and championship game in some conferences, but we don't have that in the national championship. So one bad night can end your season and wash it all away. But it's been a long time for Michigan. And when you get these great players, you want to expect that they're going to win. And I think they will eventually, but yeah, I get it. It's not easy. So, but yeah, that's the way it goes.